Lời đầu tiên xin chào các độc giả đã đến với website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com. Khi tìm đến với website rèn luyện kỹ năng, chắc hẳn bạn đang mong muốn tìm cho mình một công cụ tốt nhất trong quá trình rèn luyện kỹ năng. Kỹ năng ở đây có thể là kỹ năng lãnh đạo, kỹ năng bán hàng, kỹ năng mềm, kỹ năng sống và rất nhiều các kỹ năng khác. Thông thường khi nghĩ đến việc rèn luyện các kỹ năng như chúng tôi đã đề cập ở trên, chúng ta thường hay nghĩ đến việc tìm mua cái đầu sách hoặc tham gia các chương trình hội thảo. Nhưng trong cuộc sống bận rộn của thế kỷ 21, thời gian và tiền bạc là hai thứ luôn bị giới hạn nhiều nhất. Với sự ra đời của website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com, chúng tôi mang đến cho bạn một công cụ tốt hơn trong việc rèn luyện kỹ năng của mình, đó chính là các DVD rèn luyện kỹ năng. Bạn sẽ không còn phải tốn quá nhiều thời gian để đọc sách hay tốn quá nhiều tài chính để tham gia các chương trình hội thảo. Chỉ cần bỏ DVD vào đầu máy, ngay lập tức bạn đã có thể tận hưởng những thước phim quý giá được chia sẻ từ các diễn giả nổi tiếng tại Việt Nam và trên thế giới. Website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com cung cấp đầy đủ cho bạn các DVD rèn luyện kỹ năng trên nhiều lĩnh vực. Tất cả các DVD rèn luyện kỹ năng của các diễn giả nước ngoài có tại website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com đều có phụ đề 100%, hỗ trợ tối đa cho quý độc giả khi theo dõi. Rèn luyện kỹ năng.com cam kết chất lượng tất cả các DVD khi cung cấp cho quý khách hàng. Với hân hạnh được phục vụ cho rất nhiều các khách hàng trên cả nước. Chỉ cần click đặt hàng, trong vòng 1 đến 3 ngày, bạn đã có thể cầm sản phẩm trong tay. Rèn luyện kỹ năng hân hạnh được phục vụ quý khách.
Hi, I'm Kim Kiyosaki, and my favorite investment of choice is real estate. And I recently did a presentation to a live audience. The subject of the talk was good deal, bad deal. And it was about how do you spot good deals in the marketplace versus bad deals, because there's a lot more bad deals out there than good deals. So my forte is how to analyze a deal, how to look at the numbers, how to tell if a property is worth pursuing or not. So I'm going to take you right now to that live performance with an audience. We had about 300 or 400 people, and I trust you'll enjoy it. So here we go. If I can just see a show of hands, how many people here own real estate? Okay, great. How many people do not? Thank you. Okay, a distinction. How many people own investment real estate? Okay, how many do not? Great, thank you. Is there a difference between real estate and investment real estate? Yes. I would say all investment real estate is real estate, but not all real estate is investment real estate. And I want to make the distinction because I have so many people come up to me and they said, "Oh, Kim, I just started investing in real estate." I went, "Great, what did you buy?" They said, "Oh, I bought my home." I'm like, okay, let's separate out your investment, which is your business. Your investment real estate is business. Your home, you don't buy a home necessarily to make money quickly, right? It's an emotional buy. And so I never consider my home, or if you have a vacation home that you're just going to use, you're not going to rent it out, those are luxuries, basically. So today we're talking about investment real estate, and that is real estate that you buy with the intention of making money very quickly. Is that clear? Hello? Yes. Great, thank you. Okay, the reason I'm up here on stage today, 3 reasons actually. Number 1, my name is Kiyosaki. How many people have read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad? All right, if for those of you who haven't, this is a must-read if anybody wants to take control of their financial lives. This was written by my husband, Robert Kiyosaki, and has been on the New York Times bestseller list now for close to 6 years. And this is where, all of this is, Rich Dad, Poor Dad is my investment philosophy. This is my foundation. And again, if you haven't read it, please do so. So number 1. Number 2 reason I'm up here is I am somebody that knew absolutely nothing about money, nothing about investing, had no education, no training, wasn't brought up around anybody that invested in real estate. And so it was in 1989, Robert came to me and he said, "Kim, it's time you start investing." I didn't even know what the word meant. All I knew is, I saw some stock shows on TV, and I said, "Does that mean you're supposed to buy stocks and bonds?" And he's like, "No, no, no, no." And so he began to teach me what his rich dad taught him, And then he said, okay, you're on your own. I'm like, great. So I go out there and I'm looking, and to make a long story short, my very first investment property was a little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house in Portland, Oregon. And we actually have a picture of it if you'll put it up on the screen. There it is. That's my mom on the porch. But that was my very first investment property, little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. And I'll tell you, I was scared to death. I'm like, what if the tenant moves out? What if I made a mistake on the numbers? What if the roof leaks? What if? I studied this property for days and days and days, went over all the what you call due diligence, checking out the property up one side and down another. And the funny thing is, when it came time to close the property, I'm at the closing table, and first of all, they couldn't make out my signature because my hand was shaking so much. And then I had to come up with $5,000, which I didn't have. So I had to scramble to come up with that. So I had this check for $5,000 in my hand. And they're like, okay, now we need the money. And they couldn't get the check out of my hand. I'm like, no, I can't do it, I can't do it. But that property, just to give you an example, that very first property cost me $45,000. As I said, I had to put $5,000 down. And so if anybody here in the audience or who's watching this on video, if you're saying, I don't have the money, I didn't have the money. I often don't have the money. But there's a really creative thing that happens. If you do not have the money, it can be a great benefit. Because all of a sudden, once you see a property and you get excited about it and you want it, you're going to start thinking about, how do I get the money? And you will get so creative, and you'll be amazed at some of the ideas that you come up with and some of the places the money comes from. So never let I don't have money stop you. It's not a valid excuse. Okay, this little property gave me a whopping cash flow, and cash flow is my rent comes in, I pay the expenses, I pay the mortgage, and at the end of the month, I had $25 a month positive cash flow. And I was so excited. I was so excited. It was so great. And so that was my very first deal. And that's where I really learned the fundamentals of real estate investing. Because even though it was a small property, the basics of investing, the basics of running a property, of managing a property are the same. And so I kept investing, kept learning. I keep investing today. I'm investing all the time. But I wanted to show you one of my most favorite properties. This was one of my most successful real estate deals, and that's this property right here. It's a commercial property, happens to be in Phoenix, Arizona. And the beauty of this property, and let me just say one thing. I ended up with this property because of the biggest investment mistake I ever made in my life led me to this property. And I'm not going to go into the whole story, but basically I was negotiating on another property in Florida. I live in Phoenix. Didn't know the laws of Florida, thought I had to bring in an attorney, thought I had to bring in all the brokers and the experts who started negotiating this deal for me. And long story short, I lost the deal. We negotiated for 6 months, and they call me and say, the deal's gone. I'm like, no. And I'm like, I'm not mad at the attorneys, I'm not mad at the brokers, I'm not mad at anybody except me, because I didn't trust myself to do this deal. And so I'm like, I knew how to do it. I knew what I needed to do, but I didn't trust myself. And so that night, it's like 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, I gotta find the next investment. I gotta find it. I'm looking through these papers. Now I'm negotiating on a deal from Phoenix in Florida. I find this property, which is this property here. Better deal, better cash flow, better financing terms, much better return on my money, and it's 2 blocks from my house. So that property, same fundamentals, same principles, just bigger numbers. That was an $8 million property. Had to put down $1 million, of which I did not have. So I had to find out how to get that money. Again, never let I don't have the money stop you. And this, instead of $25 a month, today it puts $30,000 a month in my pocket, month after month after month. So again, it's not rocket science what I'm going to talk about today. It's not necessarily, I say it's very simple. The concepts are very simple, but it's not necessarily easy. It takes time, it takes effort, because I really love encouraging people to become financially free, financially independent. And you can't do that being what we call a passive investor. If you want to just turn your money over to somebody else and let them manage it for you, that's fine. However, I don't think you're ever going to get to financial independence that way. So I'm talking about being an active investor. And the third reason I'm up here, as Pastor Maureen pointed out, I'm happy to say I'm the author of a new book called Rich Woman. And the subtitle is Because I Hate Being Told What to Do. How many people can relate? And this is a story of 6 women, my 5 girlfriends and me, and we are all